One thing I wanted to discuss, we saw this excuse from a couple of coaches, notably Burkina Faso and DRC, is that the teams arrived only a couple days before, 2, 3 days before the match. And these coaches in the post-match press conferences claimed that their players were tired. Is that a good excuse for you? Do you think that's true? Do you think that's maybe something that host nations, an advantage they enjoy that we don't usually notice at tournaments like these? Or do you think that's a failure to prepare the team properly? Maybe something that's the fault of the federations. What do you think of when you hear that sort of excuse from coaches?
Yeah, it doesn't sit well with me, and I think I don't buy it at all. Because at this level now, federations and head coaches, and I don't really like to sort of try to put the blame on one party too much, but for head coaches, sometimes they can ask for certain things. Oh, we want a training camp, or we want to go to, I think, Burkina Faso or Morocco, or I'm not, they camped elsewhere. So in terms of the planning for the tournament, they would have known that, okay, if we went for this camp, or if we didn't arrive in East Africa, then we'd be there 2 days before. Now, if you know that, there must be a plan in place to mitigate that factor, that whether you train for 1 hour, whether you only train once out of the 2 days, whether you allow the players to miss breakfast for a couple of days to acclimatize from jet lag and everything, the change in time. It's just there's no excuse now. And maybe they don't have, or they didn't attach a sports science person there. Maybe there's not a nutritionist or somebody who's a lot more scientific in terms of helping players to overcome the fatigue of travel. I just don't think it's an excuse anymore, especially when you consider all the investments in terms of upgrading coaching standards. I would never as a coach use that as an excuse to say we arrived 2 days early, because maybe if it was out of my control as a coach, then okay, I still need to find ways to, as I said, mitigate the tiredness so that the players can get the best performance in the first game. Now, for sure, it would have been better for them to arrive in East Africa earlier than 2 days. But I also think there are some other teams who arrived within the 2 days, 3 days, and they've not, they've won, and they've not used that as an excuse. It is a little bit lazy to me. It's just a little bit where I don't accept it, because I've been in the situation where as a coach, you have the choice. You're the one who sets the plan to the federation. You tell them we want to arrive 5 days before, or we want to arrive in this country or in that country, and then you decide. I think if I'm right, Burkina Faso did actually go to Morocco, and you went to North Africa to camp, and then you go into East Africa. Of course, they're going to be tired. Of course, they will. But of course, maybe because they have financial challenges, so sometimes the hands are tied. But then as a coach, you cannot come out with these excuses, because for sure, yes, he has good quality players, but part of your job as a coach is also to handle the travel load. Some teams arrive 24 hours before a game. The North African teams, usually when they travel to Sub-Saharan Africa, they will only arrive 24 hours because they don't want to spend so much time in the country. And they still come, they do their business, and they go home. So why can't that be the same for others? I just think it's a poor excuse. I don't want to accept that. They've got another 3 games left, so I think they will recover. But it's also the coach's job to make sure that you're able to handle the workload of the players, the travel schedule, the fatigue in their legs, and then you adjust your training plan accordingly.